Welcome everybody. I'm Garrett and this is The Mainframe. Today we're going to be talking about the simple secret behind Copyblogger's 8-figure business. And I have to emphasize that simple is in air quotes, because when we say simple, we don't mean easy 8-figure business. We mean there's a simple secret behind it. With all that intrigue, what is the secret behind Copyblogger's 8-figure business?
It's like a lot of things, there's a formula you can follow. The key is understanding that though the formula is simple, it does require work. The basic formula is figuring out what your customers want and then delivering that in a way that delights them. A lot of times you can see that through just following what it is that your customers are asking for, what they're saying, how they're communicating with you. And it's a process that we call just doing what's indicated. Just following through on things that you're seeing coming up in the marketplace surrounding your community and your audience. It started out with Ryan building an audience through the Copyblogger blog with the intent that he was going to build this audience to present them with something, a product to sell. And by starting out with an audience, you get a clear picture of what you need to develop. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to develop a product before they have an audience or a customer segment to sell that product to. A group of software guys have come up with this great idea, the next Twitter, the next Uber, without really understanding what the market is looking for. But they know this would be a cool product. So they build the product first and then try and take it to a customer, to an audience. Our approach has always been to build the audience first.
They're talking about build it and they will come. We're talking about building an audience, finding out what they want and need, and trying to solve their problems.
Exactly. It's the approach we call minimum viable audience, and then to create a minimal viable product.
When you were talking about earlier doing what's indicated, we've built the audience. How do you know what they're indicating? How do you work out where to go with that?
They'll tell you. That's another benefit of building an audience. It's more than just an audience. It's a community. It is a group of people who may not be all alike, but they have needs that need to be fulfilled. They have missing elements in their business or marketplace that needs something to help them accelerate that. A lot of times you can find that out just by listening to your audience, because they will tell you very clearly what it is that they need, what's missing. And oftentimes they'll even present ideas. I wish I had this, or I wish I understood this, or if I only had this piece of information or this tool, I would be able to really take things to the next level. Instead of forcing something on an audience of this is what you need, you listen first. Through that kind of communication, you will see patterns emerge, what this particular audience needs and what's missing.
That leads us nicely to the concept of the minimum viable product. You talked about the minimum viable audience, gathering an audience that's big enough that they tell you what they want. But the minimum viable product, that seems to have been skewed in the marketplace, the whole concept. People seem to have taken it and run in the wrong direction. Do you see the same thing?
Oh, yeah. And it's terrible because a lot of what I did previously in the consulting world and doing enterprise software was this approach of iterative development. The problem is that over time, agile, lean development, and MVPs have been skewed to be more about what is the quickest and easiest piece of crap that we can get out the door just so we can start making money. And that's not the intent of it at all. But you're right. That's how it's become in the marketplace for a lot of people that are using those terms and using it as an excuse to put together a low quality product in a sense of trying to just get something out.
Yeah, you even see apps and tools that it's practically just a UI with nothing behind it, but they're still selling it as a product to get people to register. They're still promoting the heck out of it. That's not the philosophy you and Brian had at the start, and it's certainly not what we do right now. How did you see the MVP when you were developing those first products?
You have to start out with something of value. A lot of people focus on the minimum of minimal viable product versus the viable. And the viable is actually the most important part because it's got to be something that's usable. We needed to find a way to do the minimum we could do that when they bought it, they wouldn't say, wow, this was a ripoff. But the other side of it is also because you don't want to do too much before you understand how the market's going to react to it. If you do too much up front, you're having to dump a product on them versus This is a starter that we can grow on and work on together.
It's to validate your ideas and validate the marketplace and to learn and absorb from the customers, not as a quick way to make cash. Now, obviously, it is a really good way of bootstrapping, making some money, and it's a really good launch process. But it's more, we have this idea as a product. Let's see if the market accepts that and runs with it and really wants it.
You will make money if you provide quality. And one of the things we did with our very first product was we knew that if we were to build this entire vision of what we wanted this to be and then put it to the audience, it would be overwhelming. It would be wrong. It would be skewed. There would be too much of the kind of information we thought they needed versus the type of information they would request. A lot of times we'll do a small private beta and then we'll do a pilot release. The product is a production level quality product. It just doesn't have all the features yet. The intent is that our pilot group helps evolve that product into something they really need by providing feedback. We need this simpler. We need this a little bit more in depth. By helping us evolve that product, they're getting it at a lower price. They're getting it on the ground floor, but they're still getting a quality product. It's not a beta piece of junk.
It's a really good way of crystallizing the benefit and outcome and transformation is going to be of the product. If it's an educational product, you're trying to get people from where they are to where they want to be. If it's a tool or software product or a physical product, they actually want to solve a problem or achieve something. If you focus on those outcomes, then the features are naturally going to follow and support that. You're talking about creating something valuable rather than just, I've got this idea for something to sell.
Exactly. And that's how you build a business. There's a very big difference between building a product and building a business. A lot of people don't realize that. There are companies who have built a product, whether it's great or mediocre or terrible, they don't understand that's just one part of building an overall business. By following these steps iteratively over and over again, you can now say, okay, here is a small piece of what you've asked for that will solve A, B, and C. Now, tell us what you want D through Z to do. And then you evolve that. It allows you to truly grow a business versus just a product that you keep adding features to.
I think that a lot of people focus on getting to market fast, but once you're in a market, you need that lifetime value. You need that customer loyalty. You need to keep delighting people. And that agility is how you keep them.
We've seen several companies that are going to remain nameless, that you've seen them scale up really fast and you see them hiring every other day and they're no longer around. It's not easy to do. It's something that requires work, it requires discipline, and it requires the ability to listen and trust your understanding and instincts versus listening to your ego all the time that wants to be a big business with lots of people. That will be the quickest way to tank your company.
What are those steps that you talked about earlier so that people can take those away and start implementing them today?
The first step is build your audience. A minimum viable audience will give you the feedback and the right information you can listen to develop your minimum viable product, which is the next step. An information product, software, whatever it is you build, or if you're in the service industry, tailor your service offerings in a way that actually meets that audience versus putting together a menu of items and hoping that somebody will pick one. The final step is you get that feedback and then you adjust your product, go back to the beginning, listen again. And it's just this continuous cycle of listening to your audience, take what the audience has said and deliver to them this that delights them, then listen to that feedback from them so you can add the next step and grow on it.
Excellent. Thank you, Tony. And we'll drill down in future episodes. Keep listening. This is Chris Garrett and Tony Clark, and this is The Mainframe.